Hey, it's Vera here. I'm making this video mostly for myself, but also to help other people if they find it useful. So some companies, or a lot of companies, use something called Fortinet, which is like a VPN service. But the problem is I guess at least our provider, they charge more money to be able to use the normal TOTP codes over their app. My problem with the app is that's a privacy breach in my opinion. I have to have a work app on my phone, and especially because they actually use TOTP underneath of their own code, which is kind of ridiculous that they would charge you more money for that when it's basic security. So to get around that, we're going to extract the TOTP code and be able to use it in a normal TOTP app. So the first thing you'll need is the platform tools for Android, which will allow you to SSH into your phone. You will have to have root to be able to do this. So if you don't have root, that's something you'll have to think about. I will not show a tutorial on how to do that because every phone's different. So the next thing you'll need is the actual GitHub code from this guy, Andrew SV. I guess he forked it from another guy first and had to update it. Once you have that cloned to your desktop, the first thing we have to do is run some of the commands that he does list here, but for my side of things, I had to change them slightly to make them work. So I'll show you how to do that. So here's platform tools. This is the extracted platform tools that I've downloaded from the Android website. And all you have to do is hold down Shift, right click, and then open PowerShell window here. And the first thing you have to make sure is that your phone is plugged in and it is connected. You will have to have developer tools on or developer mode on. So do that. Obviously when you do the root, they'll show you how to do that. So once it's plugged into your computer, just type the adb.exe shell and then su. And the reason this is like this and not, you could in some cases just type adb and then shell, but I choose not to install it in my system, so rather running it here it does the same thing. So you'll see that it looks like nothing happened, but actually it is, it basically opened the shell, so I can now run shell commands on my device. Sometimes it will give you like a weird error. It'll be like, well, I forget exactly what it says, but essentially what that usually means is you have to open up your phone and hit accept because it's asking for authorization to be able to do that. It'll also have to ask for root access if it hasn't already, so that's one of those things that you'll have to accept and grant. Now that we're in the shell, the next command will be for extracting the device ID. You'll basically just type this here. Now this one's a little confusing because on the GitHub, it makes it look like it's going to come out better, but I guess the encoding is incorrect for whatever reason. I haven't figured out how to fix that necessarily. But it's not too bad. Depending on how many apps you have, you'll just have to look for the Fortinet, and then you'll see the code that looks about this size, and that is your device ID. So copy that down. Next command you'll run is this one, and this is giving you your UUID. So that's the code right here between this little string element. After that, you've got one more command, and this is essentially grabbing your code or your seed for the code out of the database that Fortinet uses, your local database on your device. So that'll output here. And then just mark that down as well. The next thing you'll have to do is make sure that Python is installed. Now, a lot of people will probably have Python installed already, especially if you're coming this far. You're probably doing this stuff all the time. But essentially, Python to me is like a house of cards. It is very finicky. It doesn't like to work properly. Half the time it seems like sometimes one thing requires one Python version, sometimes something else requires another, and it's, to my opinion, is just a huge mess. Nonetheless, what I would recommend is not installing the latest Python version, but actually installing Python version 3.11.0, which I believe is October 31st, or it's around October 30 something in 2022. So that's the date of that. I'll link that in the description as well. So that shouldn't be too complicated, but the newer version did not work for me. Once you have that installed, you're going to want to open up the cloned GitHub repository that you made, which is called OpenFTM. And we're going to do the same thing. We can actually close the other shell now, but just right click holding shift, open PowerShell window here. And the first thing you have to do is install the requirements. Did not save that command. That is in this document here. I'll put all these in the description as well, just because I did have to modify some of the commands to get them to work. So this will install all the requirements, and if you're on the right Python version, that should work just fine. I've already installed them, so it doesn't look like much is going on here. But it also say that there's a newer release. Don't upgrade, doesn't matter. It works without it. Why break things when you don't need to? After that, you'll just have to type, you'll basically just have to run the, actually, before you run it, you actually have to input your variables. So if you have Notepad++ installed like me, it'll be as simple as right-clicking and edit with Notepad++. If you don't, you could probably just edit this with the normal Notepad that Windows comes with. I'm not sure exactly what that does. Right-click edit, that should work. Except it won't be the requirements file, it'll be the generate file. So edit the generate file. That'll open up something that looks similar to this. And essentially I've already done it, but you can just put your seed, your UUID, and your device ID in the correct portions of the file, and then just save that file. After that, you can go back to the shell and basically just do python.exe generate.py. That'll actually pull up a barcode for you to make it a little easier for if you want to scan that with your Google Authenticator or your Aegis Authenticator, whatever you want to use. Alternatively, it'll also show you everything here. So the TOTP secret is what you're looking for. This is the current TOTP code, but this is the secret. So if you hover over that and then right click it, it'll actually copy it to your keyboard. And then, for example, like here's an authenticator app within Chrome, which would allow me to add one. Manual entry. Just put the secret, and I could do like FortiNets. But you have to just make sure that the period is 60 because it's every 60 seconds. Otherwise, it won't give you the right code. So did I do that fast enough to compare? I did. So 314391, 314391. So we know that the code is accurate, and that'll work for the VPN login. So that's about it. Don't worry about copying my code. This is my older code. I've got to replace it soon. But this is so when I have to do this again, I don't have to go through the process of figuring it all out again. So, hooray, future self. But also, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you found this useful, please write a comment. Thanks. Bye.